Hi, I'm Tiffanie Blackmon-Jones. I'm Director of Communications with DeSoto ISD, and I'm here with Sergeant Williams from DeSoto PD. And we're coming to you because we'd like to talk about the importance of safety in the midst of a lockdown, especially given the recent incident that we had at DeSoto High School just a few weeks ago. We want to be clear and help everybody be on the same page with what are some of the best practices to take on in a situation like that. We're aware that there are a lot of things that happened on that day. We have looked hard at that day, talked amongst our respective teams to ensure that we're all on the same page with what to do moving forward. We understand that there are definitely things and areas in which we can grow. We spent time talking to the community, talking to parents, again, talking to the leaders in our respective groups to understand what that growth looks like. And so we're here today to have a discussion to help people understand, in the event of a lockdown, in the event of a true emergency, what are things that we need to be aware of. So with Sergeant Williams, I want to first start off with talking about why are lockdowns important? How did we come to develop the practice of lockdowns?
Well, we've had quite a few incidents over a period of time, especially within the last decade, throughout the United States, dealing with incidents in schools specifically. Everyone's heard of places like Columbine, Colorado, that happened in '99, or Virginia Tech that happened in 2007, or even the latest incident that happened in Parkland, Florida. All series of events, but whenever there's an event of that magnitude, law enforcement has a responsibility to look at it and see how we could be better, what things that we could do to ensure our best success for safety for both of our students, our faculty, and the community that surrounds those campuses. So when we look at those things and we look at those incidents, we want to see what worked and maybe what didn't work, what we could improve upon, which is why we've come up with an emergency plan here at DeSoto ISD, and we conduct our safety drills in the fashion that we do.
Absolutely. And so in understanding that history and with the plan that we've developed, what are a few things that parents can keep top of mind in the event of an emergency?
Well, the first thing that I would urge parents to do is to remain calm. The initial response is parents want to make sure their kids are taken care of. They want to make sure their kids are safe, and they want to make sure that the people that are guarding their children and taking care of their children are doing everything that they can in their power to make sure that their kids are safe. So their first initial reaction is usually to drive as fast as they can out to the scene, which would seem logical, but it's wholly not very good, and it's certainly not safe for the parent that drives out there. The first thing that I would suggest a parent to do is to check with the police department's social media sites, Facebook, Twitter. The school's Facebook and Twitter sites, those are going to be your most current, most up-to-date repositories of information. The first thing that we need to do is make sure that the information that's out among the community is accurate.
Absolutely.
And the incident that happened this last week, there was so much misinformation that was out. Even parents would come up to me out on scene, I've heard this or I've heard that, and I had to calm their fears a little bit and tell them, no, absolutely, that is not accurate. I'm not sure where you've heard that, but please tell all your friends and your neighbors that that is not the case, and in a hope to calm some of their fears. We used Facebook Live out there, and that's an immediate injection of information directly from the police department for parents, so they know exactly what's going on, what information is accurate, and what information have we heard that we want to squash those rumors immediately.
Right, so those are two really key pieces there. in making sure that we don't come to the scene. When you come to the campus or the site of an incident, a lot of times we don't realize we're only complicating securing that location. So whereas we have the opportunity to utilize our law enforcement in the way that they're giving their full attention to protecting and caring for our students and our staff members, they have to divide their attention to securing that perimeter as well. So the less outside traffic we have, the more attention we can direct to what's going on inside and making sure that all our students and staff are safe. Another key point Sergeant Williams mentioned is ensuring that we're distributing right and correct information. So again, make sure that you check with those authorities. The PD and the ISD will always do our best to make sure that we get you the quickest, most accurate information possible in as timely a manner as possible. So now that we've talked about that, let's kind of talk about things that people need to be aware of when they are directly affected in an incident. So our students and staff that were inside, what are some things that they need to ensure that they're doing in the event of a lockdown or an emergency?
Well, we try to do as many drills as we can with our officers that are stationed inside of the schools already. We do lockdown drills, we do lockout drills. So we have to remember the training that it is that they have been given as far as faculty and administrators and students as well. Students have to remember they need to listen to the teachers. They need to follow the directions that they've been given. That will ensure their best success. When we do a lockdown drill, they're going to be locked down inside of a room. They want the door shut. They want it locked. They want the windows covered. Specifically, there was some research done after the Virginia Tech shooting, and it analyzed the assailant that was going from room to room. And the one thing that they noticed, and there were multiple wounded and killed in that particular incident, but there was one room that was completely locked down. They were able to secure that door and stay inside that room. 0 people were shot, 0 people were wounded, 0 people were killed inside that room. It was the only room that had that number. Other rooms that weren't able to lock the door and they weren't able to secure themselves had those casualties and injuries. We don't want that. We want to do everything in our power to secure our children and keep them safe. It's the reason why we have lockdown drills. We need the students and children to lock down in the rooms as they've practiced and wait for either administrators or police to come around and check and make sure they're okay. When it's okay and secure to do so, we'll bring them out into a safe and secure area and release from there.
Absolutely. So it's so important that when you're in the midst of a lockdown or an emergency incident, that you do follow the instruction of teachers and administrators, that you do follow the instruction of law enforcement. They are going to guide you and direct you in the best way possible to ensure the least amount of damage or danger possible. So when someone asks you to go to a certain location, whether it is redirecting people to a park, to a stadium, to another area of the building, it is imperative that we move as quickly as possible, as quietly as possible, and follow those directions. A lot of times our human nature kicks in and we want to do what feels natural to us. But these are trained professionals who have a large amount of expertise, a wide range of expertise in ensuring the most safety in a situation like this. So I do want to encourage you that when a police officer directs you, when a teacher directs you, an administrator directs you in the midst of an emergency, to please follow those instructions. Again, we have those lockdown posters posted across the district in every campus that remind you when a lockdown takes place, turn the lights out, go to a safe place in the room, make sure that door is locked, and follow the instruction of that teacher in that classroom. So with that, what are some other things that you might mention or remind people of in a situation like this?
Well, we talked briefly here at the beginning of this conversation about parents, friends, family showing up on scene. And one thing, luckily what happened last week, nothing happened.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have any injuries, and what the accusation was turned out not to be true. In the case of something actually happening, there's going to be a lot of moving parts to it. There's going to be a lot of fire apparatus. There's going to be ambulance apparatus. There's going to be a lot of law enforcement presence that's going to be there. The police officer on scene are going to give very direct, very short directions, keeping things out of your hands. If we do have an active shooter, which is the absolute worst case scenario, the police are going to ask that your hands remain clear. So leave your book bags in your room. Don't take those things out with you. Those things are possessions. We can come back and get them at a later time. Your personal safety is the utmost importance. Book bags, things of that nature can be left right where they're at. We can go get them at a later date and time. But we want to make sure that you're taken care of. Follow directions. Make sure that you're listening to the people that are directing you, and do exactly what they're asking. They're asking you to do those things for a very specific purpose, and that's to ensure that we're all successful in this scene.
Absolutely, and that's what we want. You know, coming here today to talk about this, we felt it was very important just to put out a reminder so that we all are exercising the best possible practices moving forward to ensure the safety of everyone involved. Again, in DeSoto ISD, in DeSoto PD, we all work together to ensure safety first. That is our utmost concern, to make sure that we have everybody protected, everybody secured, and to protect that learning environment. We want to remind you our schools are a safe place. They're the place where we want you to feel the most comfort, the most care, and to know that it is still a nurturing and safe environment. So hopefully today we brought you some useful information that you'll keep top of mind. We'll continue to have these conversations. Please feel free to reach out to us and ask any questions that you might have. We're here to serve you, and we're here to help you in whatever way that we can.